Hi. Here's some things to think about while sipping on a Dr. Pepper, okay? There's a philosopher named George Berkely. He is an immaterialist, which basically means that nothing exists. Nothing truly exists. There is no true material. And the really basic form of his philosophy, at least for my understanding of his philosophy, is the is that to be is to be perceived, and God is the all perceiver. Now, what that means is basically the same as it means the same thing as the saying of if a tree falls in a forest and there's no one around to hear it, does it make a sound? Now, logically, when it comes to the saying, you're like, well, yeah, it would make a sound because it's falling. And his philosophy says that yes, it would make a sound because it's being perceived. Now, what that means to be perceived is that your physical existence isn't real. It's only your conscious existence. Well, not that your physical existence isn't real, but that it's not you really you. The table that I have propped my phone up against isn't real. It is a manifestation of our perception. Now, interesting concept, but it doesn't hold up. And to tell you why it doesn't hold up, I have to explain to you why I thought it held up for years. The problem with this philosophy is not the fact that his main point is to be perceived. It's my problem with it comes from the statement God is the all perceiver. Now, damn, that's good. My problem with that is because it's impossible to have a thought experiment about his philosophy because you can't call into question the existence of his God. Because if you don't have his God, then it's easy to disprove. If I close my eyes, I'm not being perceived. I'm in a lone room with a camera, but I'm still in existence. But because I'm in my lone room, and if I stop perceiving things in here, theoretically, without his God, everything would stop existing. Now, because I can't disprove the existence of God, it's impossible to disprove his philosophy. And so that is extremely frustrating, but at the same time, it makes it worth thinking about. And if you think about it, the quantum mechanics, light acting both as a particle and a wave, depending on how it's being perceived, and superpositions, you come to the conclusion that shit, Berkeley might be on something because science and nature is sort of following his philosophy of to be is to be perceived. But it doesn't necessarily hold up because of the quantum mechanics. See, if God is the all perceiver, then superpositions wouldn't be a thing because God is perceiving the existence of the superparticle, of the light. So it can't be both a particle and a wave at the same time. So that disproves God being the all perceiver. And if his God doesn't exist, then you can disprove his philosophy. I can close my eyes and I don't stop existing. And therefore, you can consider the fact that George Berkeley You're wrong. Your God doesn't exist because quantum mechanics. Now, this calls into a question. This calls into question the existence of a God. That is a harder question to truly argue because we don't know. And I'm feeling in a pretty philosophical mood. I'll talk to you a little bit about why the conversation about God is so tricky. Now, I don't necessarily have a problem with the idea of God. I consider myself an agnostic atheist. And what I mean by that is I lean on the side of atheism, but I am not entirely, I don't know for sure. And so I feel like it's impossible to make the claim that there is no God, and therefore I can't be a full atheist. Now, if you believe in the multiverse and an infinite number of universes, this is an interesting thought right here. If God is all powerful and there's an infinite number of universes, God can exist on one of those universes. And if God's all powerful and he created everything, then he might have been able to create this universe. But to me, that doesn't change the fact that if there is a God, to me, not worth worshiping, personally. So there's no judgment for me if you do or don't. It doesn't bother me, but unless your name is George Berkely, then you're fucking wrong. I want you to admit you're wrong, but you died in 1753. Take that. Bam! And yeah, that's something to consider while drinking a Dr. Pepper. Now, let me give you a quick review. Pretty fucking good. 10 out of 10, I would say. Now, it's not cold, and that's not the Dr. Pepper's fault, that's mine. The fizz level is off the charts for a bottle. I really feel it in my lungs right now, which, kind of entertaining, not gonna lie. But, yeah, enjoy thinking about that.